Stage 3, Giro d'Italia. We've got today's stage. Where are we going? We are going from Tyler. It'd be good if you were Stavros. What is it? Vasto to Melfi. 213 kilometers. Got a little sting in the tail coming up at the end, which is important because it's going to be somewhat exciting. I didn't think you needed to tune in until the last 50 kilometers, and at which point I thought it was exciting. And I had predictions yesterday. And how did those predictions go? This is Tyler Yankee, Between Two Wheels podcast, episode 270. We're cruising along. Matt Tuff sent a message, said, "Are you back?" I'm going to do hang on, let's turn on this light here. I'm going to be doing the Grand Tours. So with the Grand Tours in mind, yeah, I'm back a little bit. And we'll try to do some of these maybe in the afternoon, early morning. I don't know. I wish I didn't have a job. I could just do podcasting all day. Might make it easier. I probably should do a little bit of a recap of the Golden State race series this weekend, because it looked like that was somewhat exciting. I don't know. I didn't go out there. Probably should start doing some bike racing. I'll get done with this little clip show here, and then we will head. Maybe I'll head over and do some bike riding myself. Okay, so this is a sting in the tail, as this GCN report has here. So yesterday's race was pretty interesting. It was a sprinter's day. Remember, talked about Mads Pedersen missed out, and with him missing out, we also had a few other. Caden Groves was blamed for a thing, and I'm going to show a little bit of a clip from that. You had Michael Matthews missed out a little bit as well. So today, as I predicted, you're going to see the sprinters teams. It's still early in the race. This might have been a breakaway day normally, but here you're going to see it's a day for the not quite the top tier sprinters. It's the Michael Matthews, the Mads Pedersens, the two exactly the ones I said you're going to watch for, and they're going to scream up this climb. They're going to try to drop everybody, including each other, get rid of Cavendish and these other guys so that they could come into the finish and have the best chance. And then it's got a little pop at the finish here. So we will look here just at the highlights. The nice little Giro map. Okay, guys ready to go. They take off. Immediately you got two guys going out there, the same team. I kind of like their jerseys. I don't know, their team colors look not so bad. And so one of them was Konashev and Stojnik. Great. No, there used to be a rider in the Pro Peloton back when Lance was riding and Greg LeMond, Dmitry Konashev. I don't know if it's the same relation. Could be, maybe not. Either way, these guys hung out there for most of the day. There was a little bit of rain until they started coming into the climbs. 38 kilometers to go here. Team Trek starts hitting the front. So you got a Trek and Jayco Alulu team really coming to the fore to put the pressure. Okay, so you did get Cavendish spit out the back pretty quick. You've got they caught the two riders up the front. That was pretty nice. Mads Pedersen is hanging on for dear life. There's Jonathan Milan, yesterday's winner. You go over the top. There's like 2 KMs that you get here, and the first one happened to be won by Thibaut Pinot. I think he wins the second one as well. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate it. And so over the top of the climbs, it's pretty cool because you're just seeing people getting spit out slowly but surely and kind of watching the teams do a lot of the work. Now, some of the detriment that you had, and that we're going to talk about here, Magnus Kort of EF Education, he gets spit out, which is kind of a surprise. But look at this. Then this is deep downhill. It's a long descent with a lot of bad weather, which kind of makes it a little bit interesting for today. So with that in mind, it's you don't want to take it too rough down the bottom here because you can knock people out. But Brandon McNulty ends up getting dropped with Mads Pedersen right over the top of the last climb. And Mads, they were like 500 feet off, just a few seconds, 19 seconds. They make it back on, perfectly good. They're going down the climb further, and Jal Almeida ends up getting in a bit of a wreck. I think this is it right here. And luckily, you had at the back of the pack there, Brandon McNulty. He's able to sit up and help his team leader, so that he's able to rebound and get him back up to the race as well. But then Brandon there's a few little ups and downs coming in the last 10 kilometers. Brandon McNulty gets spit out. Now, another one that got spit out, not due to the climbing and the climbing. And by the way, Brandon McNulty, I don't think he is the person that you're looking for that team to be a team leader. I was hoping so, but I think it's Jal Almeida. And then he being Brandon didn't have the day today. And maybe it was intended, right? He didn't want to put himself in the hurt locker yet too soon, or maybe he's working his way into the climbing, into the race. There's a lot of that out there. You don't really know the situation. It's not necessarily the tour for some of these riders. Magnus Cort is another one that I get a little bit today. I wouldn't have expected him to get dropped off. But you got, anyway, we'll get that. But Sepp Kuss. Sepp Kuss is going down there, and he's got a derailleur problem. He actually knocks his battery completely off. He's messing with it. He's kind of lucky at some point that he didn't get go down, putting his hand on his rear derailleur, rear mech, trying to move it there. Now, there was a sprint bonus point, 3, 2, and 1 seconds here. Primoz gets up there. He's ready to take it on with Bowman. And actually comes over the top with Evenepoel. Evenepoel takes the 3 second bonus. So he takes the second overall because Primoz gets the second place. So there's a 3 and a 2, and then the 1 goes to Primoz's teammate. So they both move up as far as the overall GC, but Primoz ends up moving down. And it was kind of interesting that Evenepoel said, "Hey, it was easy. It was kind of an easy. It was worth putting this effort out." And I didn't see that he quite easily took Primoz. But then at the finish, Primoz was up there with all the big guys. Anyway, Brandon McNulty, he's having trouble here after he gets João Almeida back up to the front. He basically just is sitting up. There's some other riders coming through here. Anyway, comes down to the finish. It's got some corner stuff, the last 500 meters. And you see here, let's see if we can show exactly what the time, there's 200 meters. So Michael Matthews hits out about 200 meters to go. Overtakes Mads Pedersen, who's there. Now, Caden Groves is still in the mix. He's the Australian sprinter, the one that Evenepoel said was all at fault yesterday. We'll kind of do a little breakdown of that. And Michael Matthews takes it off from the front, and he actually holds everybody off to the finish. You can see this little rise here as they come up over, and then there's about 50, they're right about 50 meters to go. And it looks like he's going to get overtaken, but he just holds on for a sprint, for a finish that he's raised his arms on and he's very excited about. Now, this is the reason why the teams push hard on the climbs when you've got a Michael Matthews. Michael Matthews can finish off a race like this and didn't have to suffer as hard, I think, going over the climbs as Mads. Caden Groves said, he goes, "Man, I was coming on. He was too far back when the sprint started." He's like, and his teammate was kind of in his own way. And he's like, "I think I was going the fastest I could have won this." Okay, well, so be it. Next time get your act together and be in the right spot. But that's good confidence for him going forward, I imagine, as well. The point is that when you come down to a finish like this, and if you haven't had to work as hard coming over the climbs, you are going to be in a better position to take on this sprint. And I think that's what you saw here with Michael Matthews. He hit it out first. He led up over the little bit of a rise. And on the drag race to the finish, he was still able to hold off Mads Pedersen, who probably just didn't have the legs from digging super deep all day, unnecessarily just demoralized physically, at least in a little bit more than his teammate there. His compatriot. You see Primoz, though, there's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 7th place here, a little bit further back as Evenepoel, who didn't really care to sprint much. So he kept himself out. Now, Zani, I think that's his name, Filippo Zani. He did a lot of work. Scotsman, I think was the other guy for Jayco, that did a ton of work up these climbs, as well as the Trek team. Now, the Trek team, I think Ciccone, I think, was their man for the GC coming into this, but he got COVID, so he's not there. So they're kind of just a kind of a stage-winning hunting team now. Let's see if we could see it from the overview. So here's 150 or so to go. Michael Matthews jumps quick. He's got these two Alpecin riders over here. Caden Groves on the far right, and his teammates kind of leading him out and for a little bit got in his way. But it actually doesn't look as bad from the overhead. At one point, Michael Matthews starts to drift, and then he straightens himself up. It was pretty clean, very clean sprint, and well deserved. I got teared up over it. No, I didn't. But Michael Matthews gets the win. Mads Pedersen second. Caden Groves. So Aussie in first and third. Mads in second, Vincenzo Albanese in fourth, Stefano Oldani in fifth, Sven Byström in sixth, Primos in seventh, Simone Velasco in eighth, Tom Squeens for Trek up there in ninth, and Andrea Verdram in 10th place. So you get his pink shoes here, Remco. He's leading. He took another second over Primo, so he's 44 seconds up, 32 over Almeida, who made it back in. Jay Vine, who does drop out of the top 10, though, is our man, American, Brandon McNulty. Riccatello was up there for the finish. So anyway, there you go. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's I think it might be a day. You got some climbs here, 1, 2, 3 that kind of end up in the top. I typically actually think that this is going to be a breakaway day, just the way that it is, because then the big climbs are coming up. Some other time trials are coming up soon as well. So maybe Remco's made some overtures about possibly having some people take the jersey from him. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, I think you're going to actually see possibly a breakaway tomorrow and a rider that's going to, take a win from a breakaway, basically. If not, you're going to see probably an initial battle with the Remco and Primos, which would be somewhat fascinating, right? I think so. Okay, so let's take a look. Go to maybe I've gotten dinged here already, playing some of these interviews, because for some reason you get knocked on these ones. Interviews pre-race. Let's see if we could get any of those. Let me know if you can't hear this. Oops, got the wrong one here. So. Okay. Interviews pre-race. There we go. I'm gonna have to. Oh, it's not letting me do it, folks. Okay. Well, that's just the way it is. Let me see if we have any final post-race interviews. Okay, that one might let us do it. Stop the screen. Sorry, just this is the way a production goes sometimes. Okay, Michael Matthews. Are you actually going to be able to hear a little bit of him? And they're probably going to ding me in some countries, or all of them.
What feeling does it bring?
Honestly, I'm just speechless. What I've been through this last few months to now come back with a victory for the team. We rode all day today, and they were fully committed for me to win the stage. And I mean, I don't have words at the moment. It's been such a roller coaster this year, and now we're already on stage 3 with a stage win. That's more than I could ever dream of.
In the last kilometer, what was the tactic to beat Pedersen?
Yeah, I mean, I heard that Pedersen was dropped on the climb, so I was hoping he would be a little bit pinned for the sprint, and I just knew I needed to go a bit early, get the jump on them, and it worked out.
Coming to the Giro, you looked very excited.
Yeah, at the moment, it's just been a roller coaster for me, so I just came here to this Giro to have fun, to enjoy riding my bike, being with my teammates, being with my team, and today it was such a team effort, that win, and that was for the boys.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Remco, firstly, take us through this time bonus. Have you learned from that stage races can be won by seconds?
Yeah, I mean, we were just there. We wanted to take the downhill in the first positions because the rain was, the rain made the road wet and tricky. So, then I saw them sitting behind us. So, I mean, it didn't cost much energy. So it was just, if the seconds are there to grab, we should not be afraid to take them. So in the end, 1 more second on Primos and 3 on the rest. It's good, especially after quite an easy day and a hectic final. But we are happy.
Thank you.
Okay, we may get our channel taken down for doing that. I already got a problem yesterday. Brian Zimney says, "Wait, black champ jersey, but white bibs." I don't know if he's wearing the white bibs in this race. I know he did in Liège. I mean, I could probably look back in here. Okay, I want to take a look at. Let's see if I can show this. Okay. So this is Robbie McEwen, talks about the the sprint yesterday. So he does a little bit of you're going to see right over On the left-hand side is Caden Groves, and I think 2 or 3, like third back. He's right to the left of Evenepoel. So, and or right in front of him, and he kind of comes over. He's overlapping. So, but then you see a cascading effect of everybody that does this, and then you see the crash. So he moves over, comes into. That's why Remco was saying, "I know whose fault it is." So the guy comes into him, and then it cascades over, and then boom, the guy goes down. The problem is the guy on the far right here that you're going to see go down. He's looking back at the time, so it's once again. Coming, boom, just knocks him off. And if he's paying attention a little bit, and it's just a bad case of, and I believe it's the road. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting how Remco, he's kind of a dick. And what do you do about that? What do you do about such a guy that's such a dick that calls things out? He's super young, and then he calls things out like that, and you're just kind of like, dude, but you know what? He's going to win all the time. So he's kind of the Lance situation where Lance, drives up the road to what's this guy's Simoni, and gets all mad, and they brings him back out of the break because he was, telling about Lance's drug stuff. So what are you going to do when someone's such a prick, but they're such an exceptional bike rider? And maybe I'm just overplaying it here. Victor says, can you request interviews of the coaches someday? Yeah. So if I was really doing a big in-depth thing and had connections here, maybe I'd be able to do that. I would like to talk to just a side effect. So I do listen to podcasts about the race because I enjoy, because the ones that are over there, especially cycling podcasts, they get a lot of interviews with the riders and stuff. And they played one today from Riccatello, Matthew, an American, and he finished up in the front group because he's a super climber. And so they have a lot of good interviews and stuff, but a lot of their stuff is too much fluff for me too. So then you have the next one. I know there's all kinds of podcasts and video stuff out there. The other one I really like is Chris Horner. And Chris Horner just does a kind of a breakdown of the race as it goes. So I try to do something a little bit different, talk about the analysis, go over the race just a little bit, and then just give you an idea, and then talk kind of what predictions and what we're going to do. And maybe as this thing goes on, I've had this podcast for years. And what we used to do was do interviews. Chris would come on. Maybe we'll bring Chris back in here and talk about all this kind of stuff. Brian, I heard you almost won. That's all I'll say about that. Congratulations too, by the way. Message me. We'll have a talk about that. So one of the things I wanted to kind of say too is teams. Okay, so let's take a look here. Let's look at the teams here, and we can talk about kind of what's going to happen. Because one of the problems you may have is, there we go, live stats. The results. Go to the teams. Teams, here we go. And I want to do Quick Step. Where's Quick Step? They change their names all the time. Team Soudal Quick Step. There you go. Okay. So they have a decent team. I don't know that I need to who all their great climbers are. One of the guys went down today. So do they have a team that's going to be able to support Remco to all the way to the finish? Now he did it in the Vuelta. Now the Vuelta, I think, is one of the races where you maybe only need one. Just the way that those climbs are, you might only need one support guy. The Tour is definitely not that way. The Giro is kind of in between those two. Okay, so the problem that I think that Remco has is his tactics, and that he decides to take off sometimes too soon, which is exciting for everyone to watch when it's 20 kilometers out and he's breaking away and dropping everybody. You don't need a team. Okay, that's fine, but you might need a team. That's the problem, right? These things are happening. Especially today, there's a lot of flats and mechanical issues and going on. It'll be interesting to see if that's going to be a problem for him. Now, if Sepp Kuss had been up there and some of these other riders, then you can start playing different ones back and forth against it, where Remco has to fall. They did that to a T last year. They being Jonas and Primoz against Pogacar in the Tour last year, playing him off of each other, where he's attacking 70K out over 2 climbs to the top, and it was his undoing, Pogacar's. So. Van Wilder, Catano, Louis Viverka, Jan Hurt, Peter Seri, David Ballerini. I mean, they're all solid riders. I mean, look who he had up here with him today. He had 5 riders, all within the top 20 that all made it over those little climbs. So for the most part, pretty solid. Okay, so on the day, you had Michael Matthews like we went over the results, but I thought it was interesting to go down here to see that it was 57 that made it in the group. Scottson, that's the Callum Scottson. He was the one that was doing a ton of work on the front to Reverka. And then there's a few little gaps with some people. And these are kind of Filippo Zana. He was another one that did a ton of work for Israel. He's the Italian champion. But it's just a little more interesting to see who didn't make it up here. And, some of the sprinters, whatnot. Sepp Kuss, as we mentioned, he had a mechanical, so you give him forgiveness for that. But not Brandon McNulty. He had a biomechanical. Magnus Cort, same with him. Bedial, that's kind of an interesting one. Who else here? Cicado. Kind of shocked to see him back down the field as well. I mean, he's kind of a climber guy, but he might be saving himself. Larry Warbass, Dombrowski, I did see he got in a crash, so I could see that reason why he's down there, but I don't know why Larry Warbass, but Larry might be saving himself for something else. Did everyone make the time cut? It does look like that. Okay, let's take a look at tomorrow's stage. We had a little bit of indication there. This is tomorrow. Oops. This is tomorrow. Decent climb. It's only a Cat 2. So I don't know that it really, that's why I say I think it's going to be a breakaway day. And it's not enough for and then the next day. So tomorrow's Tuesday. Then this will be Wednesday. That's got to be a sprinter's day, or at least somewhat Thursday. Once again, I think somewhat sprintery day. I mean, there's 2 big climbs. This is more of a breakaway. And then you finally get this one, a Cat 1 here coming up, stage 7. So I think that's going to be kind of your big one here. So anyway, I think teams are depleted here a little bit, right? You've got Remco's team. They might not be able to support necessarily Remco the way he needs or wants them to, because they're Quick Step, Soudal, who's mostly a classics team, but they're doing pretty good. They're not the tour team that you would see coming in with Primoz. Typically, Primoz didn't come in with this tour team himself. So he's a little depleted, but he's got Sepp Kuss there. And I think with Sepp is fine, that's really all you need. That's what you've seen him basically win the Vuelta for the last several years with Sepp Kuss. It'd be interesting to see who else is coming out here. I wanted to take a look here before I forget about it. Let's go back to stage 3. Okay, so let's go to the Americans. We're going to look at Riccatello. Maybe tomorrow I'll get his interview up. So he's had 29 days of racing already. He won the youth classification at San Juan. That was early on. General classification, he was 9th. The UAE tour, he was 6th on the youth, 17th on overall. He did 14th on the individual, on the team time. Okay, that's team time trial. Never mind. Vuelta Catalunya with Primoz and Remco going back and forth on that one. He was fine. He was 8th on the youth. He had a 15th on the one of the stages there. Youth competition on Tour of the Alps. He was 3rd on that one. He got an 8th place on stage 3. Solid. And then he's in the mix already. So he finished 50th today, but he was in that front group of climbers. So I thought that was good for him. Okay. Let's go cycling news. Do they have anything going on? Well, you've got Michael Matthews. I was impressed with his win today. Bike snaps in half. Okay. It wasn't a perfect day. Almeida voids time loss. Pinot rolls back the years. He's going for the, the Mountains jersey. But what's the other? I don't remember all the websites here. It's been a while, so we'll just go back to that. Okay. Well, I think that's so. Who's my pick for tomorrow? It's going to be some sort of breakaway. I don't know. Anybody else have predictions on that? So an American. Should we go for a Larry Warbass? Maybe a Larry Warbass day. Maybe that's why he was taking it easy today. He's got tomorrow set. He's going to get in the break, and he's going to try to rock it for that. Okay. That's really all we had going on today. Not much. I didn't get to play any interview. Oh, I did play some interviews. Other than that, I don't know what more we can really talk about until we get into the high mountains and get a little bit more fun in the action there. Because today was exciting for the last little bit just to see them whittle the guys away, but it wasn't much as far as excitement otherwise. So as far as that goes. All right. Well, 270. I hope you guys had a good racing weekend. Brian, send me a message. We'll talk about it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. All right, everybody. Take care.